Today is free draw day, so I didn't really prepare anything for today. You don't have to follow along with me today. Just take this half an hour to draw whatever you would like to. You could always redraw something that we've done earlier in the month, or you can follow along with me. Today I think I'm going to do another poster. I've had some fun using typography. I'm going to do a pretty simple poster today and take some Zen time to do some coloring. We're going to use that circular ray that I tried out for Wednesday's alpaca poster and do a heart and integrate the word love. So my color palette today, I'm using color pencils. And today I'm using primarily warm colors because I'm going to do a heart for love. So of course I have red, I have red orange, I have orange, I have yellow. I don't have a yellow orange, but I could just mix these two together. And I have violet. So I'm going to use those to color my poster today. I also have both sizes of my felt markers. So I have a fine tip and I have my standard felt tip marker. Remember, if we're using felt tip markers or pens in general, make sure you have some extra paper behind your paper. I also have my pencil for sketching today and my eraser as well. It was a little far away, but I got it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put all my tools away except for my pencil and my eraser. I'm not using a ruler today because as a style choice, I like to have some natural looking lines. So let me get this piece of paper is a little dirty. Let me get a fresh sheet of paper. All right, we're just making this up as we go. I have an idea in my head, and what I'm going to start out with, because I'm making a poster, is I want to lay out my page. So first thing we've been doing is kind of dividing the page in half, and I said this at the beginning of the videos, I'm going to make darker lines than you should be making. I'm making them dark so that you can see them on camera, but we're sketching, so we are probably going to erase some of those lines afterwards, so you need to be using your sketching hand and drawing lightly. I'm going to get some lead out there, and we're going to divide it in half that way. We're going to divide it in half that way. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. What I'm going to do is I did a little bit of an idea in my head, so I'm going to take a piece of scratch paper and I'm going to lay it out. So I have my rectangular shape for my paper, and then I want to have a square frame at the bottom and a rectangular frame at the top. So like that. I want it to look something like that. And then I want it to say love up here. And then I want to do a heart with rays. And that's my little mock-up. That's my little doodle. It tells me what I'm going to do on the big page. And that's part of some sketching is you want to pre-sketch before you do your big sketch, or if we're doing graphic design, we want to sketch everything out, do a little mock-up before we put it on the page. So that's what I want. Let's see. So my square on the bottom half of the page, maybe let's start by just doing a big frame around everything. So let's come in. I know I definitely need a line at the top. It's up there. Make it a little darker for you. I definitely need a line at the bottom. Again, I'm doing it dark so that you could see it. You probably barely see it. I got a line at the bottom. And I'm going to sketch in this square because I'm not using a ruler and I just want it to look like a square. So I'm going to come up. That's about it right there. I'm just sketching. I'm going to make these lines a little bit straighter when I go in. That's pretty square. I guess I could go a little bit higher. I'm going to go ahead and erase that line so it doesn't confuse me. And then I'm going to do a rectangle up here. Now for design reasons, I want the space between my top rectangle and my square to be the same amount of space from my frame edge. Across there. So there we go, my rectangle. I'm straightening up my lines here, making them a little bit darker. See how I came in a little too close there, so we're just going to start over here. I'm using my whole arm to make a straight line. All right, these are not my final lines yet, so don't make it too dark. Still might erase some. All right, so now I have my frame or my grid. So I want it to say love up here, and I want to do my heart design down here. I'm going to start with the heart design because it's going to be the easier part. So now this is my new frame. So this is my new canvas. I'm working in this space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this in half just like it was a new page. So put it in half that way, and you already have a line dividing it in half this way. I'm just going to make it darker so that you guys can see it. And I want to put a heart in the middle of my page. So I'm going to sketch the heart. So it's going to be 2 circles with a triangle at the bottom. So I'm going to do my 2 circles in between those halves, and 2 circles between these halves, and then they meet down in the middle. And I can sketch my heart. Your heart doesn't have to be perfect. You can draw it any way you want to. All right. I'm going to go ahead and integrate my logo into this. So my logo is 2 hearts inside of each other with rays coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and outline this heart and make a double heart. Go ahead and come back and do the other side. See, I'm using my sketch hand. I'm drawing very lightly, being really sensitive to my pressure. Doesn't have to be perfect. The effort is worth it. Okie dokie. And then I'm also going to do some rays coming out of the heart. So we've got our line here, and we've got our line here, we've got our line here. Now I want one ray to come out from there, so I'm going to make my lines from the center, and it's going to go out like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, I just like it for it to be in the center, and then we'll do the same thing on the bottom. Like that. And we'll do the same thing on the sides. And let's go ahead and do some extra rays. So let's go ahead and take a line and go to the corner. Take a line, go to the corner, take a line, go to the corner, take a line, go to the corner. I'm not using any rulers because I want it to look very hand-drawn, but if you want to use rulers to make these straight lines, go ahead. So we just made these lines to the corner, so just like we did on the lines that go vertical and horizontal, we're just going to go one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right. So now we have a bunch of lines coming out from our heart, and that's going to make more sense after we start to color it. So here's a lesson in sketching. I don't like the way my hearts came out. So I'm going to erase some of the outside line and redo it. So you don't have to erase it all the way. Luckily hopefully you were drawing very lightly. It's just the outside heart I don't like. I'm not happy with it. So we'll do it again. I want it to be closer. I want it to be really big up at the top. And then come in close at the bottom. There we go. I like that better. There we go. That's a nice little heart down there. And we've got our rays coming up here. So let's do our letters. So we're going to do the word love, which L-O-V-E, which is 4 letters. So we're going to go ahead and divide this top rectangle into 4 spaces. So we've got it already divided down the middle vertically, and then we're going to divide that half in half, and then that half in half, so that we have quarters, so 4 quarters. And what I want is my letters to float in this space. I don't want them to touch the edges, and I'm going to set a grid up for myself so that I keep it within that space. So I'm going to go ahead and however high up I want the letters to be, I'm going to make a line going all the way across, and I want it that same distance from the bottom as it is from the top. So I'm going to put a line across. Again, I'm sketching a little darker so that you can see. You should be sketching lightly. This is all just for framing out our piece. So if it's going to be that distance from the top and bottom, I'm going to want it that same distance from the sides. And I want them the same distance from each other. So however big that is, you're going to want to make and you fit it around those lines you made. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do my L. Do my O. Do my V. Still sketching. And my E. And I'm going to turn this into a serif font, modern style. So that means it's going to have thick vertical lines and thin horizontal lines, and there's also going to be little feet on the ends. So I'm going to start with my L, so I'm going to go ahead and make the thick part. And I'm going to put the little feet on the ends. I can make these a little bit darker because this is my detail. I'm definitely going to be keeping this. And my O. I do both sides of the O. You don't have to. Different fonts have different styles. And my V, on the V, I'm only going to do one side. Oh, baby's not happy. My V, put the little feet on there. and do my E. Gonna make it thick right there. That's okay. My O is too far from my V and my E is too close to my V, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is go ahead and go in, and I'm going to move the V over a little bit. And this is where we sketch. So my V came down here. I'm going to move it over to here. Remember, these are just guidelines when it comes to typography. Visually, it doesn't always measure out the same. When we're sketching, it's okay to erase and go back and fix our mistakes. As long as it's still pencil, we can erase it. That looks a little bit better. Now I'm a little too close to my O, but it's okay. I forgot about this. Okay, now that we finished the letters, let's go back to our heart. I wanted to do some design choices with the heart. We're going to start using a darker pencil line because this is we're getting closer to our final masterpiece. So I've got these two sections up here. I'm going to consider this one section, both of these together. So I'm going to make a line that's going to come down to there, a dark line. And that's going to attach to the heart there. I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to skip this line and go to this line and make a darker line. It's going to go there. So I can go ahead and erase that line. And I'm also going to erase the frame line because I'm doing a design choice with the frame. Is I'm making my heart part of the frame. And then we have this line here we just did. We're going to go to the next line. We're going to make that a dark line. It's going to go from the frame to the heart, and we're going to close the frame up here. Okay. And then we're going to go to this next line here. We're going to skip it, go to this line here, and make it dark. And we're going to go ahead and erase that part of the frame because our subject is becoming part of the frame. Like that. We're going to go to the next line here. I'm going to make it dark. We're going to close the frame there. And we're going to go to the next line and skip it. The next line, skip it. And we're going to erase this part of the frame and erase that line. And then we're going to close the next line, close the frame, next line, skip it. The next line, close the frame, next line, skip it, erase the frame, and go to the next line, close the frame, go to the next line, skip it, erase the frame, and that middle line, Make the next line. Close the frame. You're only doing the lines on the outside of the heart. We're going to erase these on the inside. All right, go to the next line, skip it. Erase the frame, erase that line. And do the next line. Close the frame. Next line, skip it. Erase the frame. And this one, we already have the next line, so we're going to close the frame. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make my heart a little bit darker. And this one as well, just so I could see it before I outline it. Because I am going to outline it with my felt markers. Okay, so I have my letters, I have my heart. This is going to be a really cute poster. One second, we're sketching, so this is bothering me. It's a great part about sketching. What I'll probably do is I'll do this again before I would make it like a poster. Realistically, what I would do is I would scan this in and fix it on my computer and make it all precise without having to do all the work. Doing it one more time. Can't hurt, right? All right, next I'm going to get my felt marker out and I'm just going to outline my important parts. So I'm going to start by outlining the rectangle that goes around love. And I'm going to do just straight lines, but I'm going to use my hand to do it, not a ruler. Might as well do all of these lines first, since I'm holding the paper in this direction. Oh, look, I made a mistake. That's okay. I'm not sure yet if I want to make the letters just solid black or with color yet, so I'm going to move on and do the bottom frame. So remember, we erased all these places here, so don't ink those. Just do your rays. This is my finer tip marker. It doesn't look that much finer tip, but when it comes to making posters, I like to use thicker lines anyway. Try to go over your pencil lines as accurately as possible, but if you don't, it's no big deal. we go. All right, so I'm gonna do the letters and I'm just gonna make them solid black. I have to bend over and get closer to get some precision going on. Well, the cat's not happy about being locked out. Yes, my cat wants in, or she'll meow. Come on. Funny thing is she'll only want in here for a second, and then she'll want back out. Take your time. You don't have to go at the speed that I'm going. I'm actually speeding up a little bit to make sure I make it within the time. Today's just a day with the animals and the babies. Okay, so I've got all my lines that I want, and I think I'm going to color this whole heart black as well. So then it'll make all my rays stand out. So let's go ahead and... Now remember, if you're using felt marker, make sure you have something underneath. Get that away. Don't need that anymore. I wanted to do a love poster today because I feel the need to project some positivity. Oh, look who came to visit. She was not having the no attention thing. Still being very insistent. And there we go. Nope, once you hit the camera, you can't be in her anymore. All right, that was a lot of ink. Okie dokie, so we got that. All right, so now we could use our eraser. We're done with all of our ink lines. The rest is just color. So go through and erase all my lines. Be careful with your paper. If you watched me before, I nearly rip the paper every time. Your pencil marks should be fairly easy to erase if you were using your sketch hand and you were drawing lightly. All right. So that. Okie dokie. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my heart, of course. I'm going to start with red, of course. And I'm going to go lightly over because I'm going to do some shading on the heart. By adding more value or more layering of the color. The rays are coming from behind the heart, but I'm going to have the light on the heart coming from in front of it. So that means that the outsides of it would have the shadow and the center of it would have the light. So I'm going to go ahead and make a tinier heart, a little darker with my pencil inside my center heart, and then I'm going to go ahead and shade a little darker in that area. I'm going to go ahead and blend that line I made by shading over it. And blend it in just by layering so it's not a harsh line. I'm going to come in lightly with my purple and lightly shadow around the edges. You should barely be able to see it, but it'll show up. All right. Get a little bit darker on the edges. All right, I'm going to start to do the inside of my rays. So I'm going to grab my yellow, and I'm going to make like a gradient or a transition from the yellow to the orange. So I'm going to take the yellow about there. Then I'm going to use my orange. And then I'm going to use my red orange, lightly though, because it's pretty bold compared to my yellow. Then I'm going to use my red. And then I'm going to keep layering it over and over again. I'm going to bring my yellow out a little bit further, and it'll blend all these oranges and reds out here. Okay, kind of like that for now. I can add to it if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and do my yellow all the way around. And I'm giving it a good amount of pressure because the yellow is really light. So the class is technically over, but if you want to stick with me in color, I'd enjoy the company. If you can see the way I'm holding it, I'm giving it a good amount of pressure. Again, it's yellow. It's fairly light. Okay, next I'm going to come in with my yellow orange. Start a little bit out there in the middle. Do it to the other ones. Again, I'm giving it a healthy amount of pressure. It's pretty close to the yellow color. A little dark, a little too dark. Okay, next, very lightly, I'm going to use the red orange, a little more than halfway out. Oh, we got a cat again. One more time. And then just a little bit of red on the edges. If I were to do this over, I'd probably put the red on the inside instead of the outside. I'll bet that's okay. If I was trying to design a real poster, I'd probably do my ink and then scan it or take a picture of it and print it out small and try different color combinations with it. Okay, now that I've got my red orange, no, don't jump up here. I'm going to use my yellow to blend it all together. So she's insisting. There's a little more red in this one. I want to balance the other one. Nope. And again, we're using the yellow to blend it all in. If you were doing markers, you'd want to use your blending marker. Oh, she's going to jump up again. So normally I don't let my cat on the table, but she's fighting with me today. All right, so I've got all that. It's all done. And then, do I want to color this on the inside? What color should I do it? I think I'm gonna do it red, yellow, another blended together. Let's do a blended together again, and let's do our red on the bottom. We're gonna start with yellow. Now we're gonna give a good amount of pressure. Oh, the marker's kind of smearing the marker. There's Capper on this. I mean, yellow looks good. I just leave it yellow. Especially since we're running out of time. And I'm running out of yellow. Not the best color choice. I'll make this one mostly reds. Try to stick within the lines. I didn't. You should, if you can. Unless it's a style choice and you don't want to stay within the lines. Let's take the red orange all the way up. All right, let's go ahead and throw the purple down here. Very lightly though. All right, there's my love poster. Hope you had fun with your free draw day today. I did. I might turn this into a card for Mother's Day. How about that? Sounds good. Thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you created something or you had fun watching me create something. And I'll see you again on Wednesday. Thank you.